Hello quilters and welcome back. We're now ready for block 13 for our sampler quilt. It seems as if I just got started and here I am with block 13 already. That means after today we have only two more blocks before I will be ready to put the quilt together. This little block, however, is called Illusion. And you might think you're not seeing all of it, but it has quite a lot of white content. And so I know on this, the white kind of moves into the background on the paper, but this is Illusion. And Illusion is by Julie Herman of Jaybird Fabrics. Cute little block, and when you see it in the African fabrics, you'll see how it really comes alive. And so let's get to our cutting directions. You'll notice that you have very few fabrics, and really you're going to cut several pieces from one fabric. And we've got the two squares at the top, the two yellow squares that you see on the block, and then there are several pieces that you will cut where the orange and the red are. The orange and the red, you need the same pieces for those, and they are rectangles. You need two rectangles that are 1.5 by 2.5, four rectangles that are 1.5 by 4.5, and two rectangles that are 1.5 by 6.5. Then from the purple, it looks black, but it's really a very deep purple. From that purple, you need two 3.5-inch squares. And then the fabric that you use for the cream, they're calling this cream out here in the block. It looks white, but you will need two 3.5 by 3.5-inch squares and two 3.5 by 6.5-inch rectangles. And so just like always, I will show the cutting directions one more time at the end. Here on the table you can see the pieces that I have cut, and you can see how I substituted my African fabrics and my grunge fabrics for the ones that are in the block. The block is made up of 4 parts, as many 12-inch blocks are. 2 of the parts are a square inside of a square. And so we're going to follow the directions for putting this together. And the first thing that we're required to do is to construct the square inside of the square. And while the directions only show one that has been taken apart, this one and this one are constructed exactly alike. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine, construct those 2 squares in a square, units, and then show them to you. Here are our 2 little units, the square and the square. And mine are a little bit different because I did not use the same color in both of the squares. Here this is yellow, but I'm sticking with my African fabrics, and I decided to just make these little units the opposite of each other. One has the African fabric in the middle, it's bordered by the grunge, and then the outside border is the same African fabric. And the other one is just the opposite. Grunge in the middle, first border African fabric, second border the grunge. And so there are 2 parts of our block already completed. Now we need to complete the other 2 blocks, other 2 parts. And you can see that these are very simple. We're going to sew these 2 3.5-inch squares together and then sew the rectangle to it. Do the same thing here. Sew these 2 3.5-inch squares together and then sew the rectangle to it. And that's what you see on the sheet of instructions for putting this together. So I'll take mine to the sewing machine get them sewn together, and then show them to you. Now I've sewn the other two units that belong in this block together. And here, this is what the block will look like eventually once I sew all four of the units together. This dark African fabric represents or is used in the same place as the purple fabric. And then I used a very light grunge on both of these units where the white is shown here. Although they call it beige, it doesn't look like beige after I copied it, I guess. But if you look at it in the book, it very well may look like beige. Now I need to sew this unit to this one, this unit to this one, and then sew the horizontal seam across the middle, and our block will be completed. So I'll get those seams sewn and show you the block once I've finished. And here is our finished block. You can see the two units. You see the dark green, brownish African fabric in the middle. And then you see the white or the beige. In my case, it's a very light beige grunge. And so here is our block, Illusion, by Julie Herman. And as always, I have made a second one, so I'll share that with you. I used my African fabrics, of course, only this time in this one, I used the red and the orange that I have, getting as close to what the block was designed to look like in the first place. But I really like the way this turned out. I'm having so many wonderful serendipitous moments while I'm sewing these blocks because I see them in the book and I think they're really attractive, and then I get a chance to make them using my African fabrics, and I think they're even more attractive, and that the fabrics truly bring them to life and enhance them. So I'm hoping you will make this block. I'm hoping you are sewing along with me and that we will finish our sampler quilt at the same time. 2 more blocks, folks. Just 2 more blocks, 14 and 15. And those are coming very soon. Thank you so much, and get ready for the cutting directions again.